Okay, here we go. Hold on tight. Be patient with this one because I'm not sure how I'm going to explain this, but I'm going to make an attempt. I got it all down on paper here. It's part of it, part of all of it down on paper. Um, I have had a great deal of interest in looking at other people's storage rooms on YouTube. It's been very enlightening. Some people are doing just a really magnificent job. I'm just very, very impressed. Um, I have not followed all of my own advice. Some of it's been for lack of energy over these last few years. I've had a kind of a rough road to go. But I am going to rectify that if I have enough time to do that. I have plenty of food. That's not a problem. I have a lot of variety, but I call it a year's supply of food with nothing for dinner because I've got more than a year's supply of food total and lots of variety. But for the things that we're normally accustomed to eating, we run out of those pretty quick. And we're used to having lots and lots of variety. So I call it doing your food storage backwards. So rather than just putting a bunch of mishmash on the shelf or having a great selection of foods in number 10 cans, we would make it and we'd be fine for a good long period of time, but it might not be what we're accustomed to. So instead of doing that, instead of just going out there and buying a bunch of stuff, it really works great if you can do it backwards and start with a menu plan. Now, um, some people go with a 3-week menu and then sit down. Well, I'll explain that in a minute. Some people go with a 3-week menu. Some people go with a 1-week menu. This Wendy DeWitt had talked about on her. If you want to look at the Wendy DeWitt videos, just put her name in and search on YouTube because it's great stuff. She's got some great stuff. I think there's 10 of them altogether. But she talks about how she worked out a menu plan. So if you start with a menu plan, and I have a 28-day one that I just scribbled down, I'm going to explain that to you if I can in a minute, if I can make it make sense to you. And then work backwards and decide what do I need to have this 4-week plan, 7, 14, 21, 28. So 28 days is 4 weeks. And I would recommend no less than a 4-week plan. And the idea is that you sit down and make out 4 weeks of menus, and then you can have that 4 weeks again. So you're only having the same menu one. I'm going to explain that. You're only using the same menu one time every 4 weeks. Some foods we don't mind eating a little more frequently than once in 4 weeks, and some foods we do, which I'm going to explain in just a minute. So here's the concept. You start with the foods you're normally used to eating and you write those down on a piece of paper. Then you decide which of those foods would you only want to have once in 4 weeks and which one of them would you not mind having twice. And I've only got a few on here twice. So this is what my menu would look like. This is not anything I spend a lot of time on. It's just for illustration. So in my 4-week menu, during that 4-week span, 28 days, with my fictitious menu I'm making up here, I would have spaghetti twice because we don't mind having that twice in 4 weeks. Rigatoni once, which is the same thing as spaghetti with different noodles. Um, we make this thing called brown bean casserole. It's basically a baked bean. I get them at the cheap store like Aldi's. Bush's baked beans are the ones we used to use. So, and you just basically put in browned hamburger and a little brown sugar in it. You can add sauteed onions and a little bit of mustard and ketchup if you want to. And it's really, really good. We make it with corn muffins, and my son really craves that now and then. Okay, in 28 days, we would have spaghetti twice, rigatoni once, brown bean once, ham casserole with, I should say, a potato cheese casserole with ham in it. You can use a can of ham you can get for $1 at the store, or you can use ham TVP. And I use like a hash brown cheesy casserole type thing that's $1 at the store. So $1 and $1, we have a meal. A ham and potato hash brown type casserole thing. I'm assuming that you have access to a freezer for my 28 days. I could do this differently with TVP. I have beef TVP in number 10 cans, but for right now, hamburgers, one night or something with burger. Oh, explanation behind this, but I'm just going to say one night you could have peanut butter and jelly 2 nights homemade pizza, 1 night macaroni and cheese, 3 different soups on 3 different nights, 3 different kinds of soups. My guys like tomato soup with macaroni thrown in it. It's just very plain, but they like that. Beef stew 1 night. Then I'm going to talk about this later, but I have access to some things through a store here that I have thought about. I'll be very frank with you, very honest. I've thought about selling these for years. I used to have a little food storage company, which has been defunct for quite a while now. I told you I had health issues, if you saw that in another video. But the things that I can get that I like, that I would have considered selling sometime in the future, they have a beef steak chili in about a 3-pound can that's excellent. So that would be one of my items, a beef steak chili. Chicken and dumplings, same place. They have a taco filling in a 3-pound can, so I would make tacos 1 night. A beef barbecue that's just excellent in a 3-pound can. Really good stuff. And I went to the warehouse clubs recently and I did not see these. A hot chicken, a very high quality chicken product. I would make hot chicken sandwiches or hot chicken and gravy over mashed potatoes twice. They have if it's the same beef that they used to have, they have a 3-pound can of beef chunks. I would make hot roast beef sandwiches with mashed potatoes at least once. Corned beef hash once. Chicken, I'm trying to read this, chicken, rice, and broccoli in a casserole with cheese. I would make that at least once. Probably some kind of a burrito once. Chicken, boned chicken in cream of chicken soup with trying to say chicken dressing over top of it in a casserole. I would do that once. Goulash once. A hamburger helper type meal once, and then hot dogs once. So this is the kind of food, generally speaking, this is the kind of food that we would eat over a 2-week span. Actually, this is a 4-week span, but that's how many times we would eat each item. I didn't spend a lot of time on this. Okay, so now we're 7 minutes and 16 seconds here. I don't want to drag this out too long. I don't like long videos. I don't like watching them, and I don't like making them. So the concept is, for a 4-week menu, you would sit down and you would say, what will my family be happy eating over a 28-day span? And then you write that down, and then you can multiply that. Let's say you're going to do a 3-month supply. Our church asks us to have a 3-month supply of what we're normally used to eating on hand, and then in addition to that, to have basic foods that would last over a longer time frame if we needed to have that. They don't stipulate the time frame anymore. They used to say to cover a year. Now they just say longer term, or for a longer term. And so it's up to us to decide what that term is, how long we feel good having food for. So if I was to do what my church has asked me to do, 8 minutes and 16 seconds here, I would take this 4-week menu and I would triple it. And then I would sit down and make a grocery list. And I would say, okay, I need, since I'm going to use this 4-week menu 3 times to cover 12 weeks, which is approximately the 3-month time frame, I would need 3 of everything on here. So if I'm going to do spaghetti twice, I would need enough for spaghetti 6 times, because I'm going to do, I hope that doesn't confuse you. In my 28-day span, I would have spaghetti twice. So I need enough to cover 3 times the twice, which would be 6. Everything else that's a 1 on here that I would want once in 2 weeks. This is just me. You could just make 28 different meals and then you could triple every single one of them. But some of these meals we would be happy having twice. And so those things I would need 6 of. So like the beef barbecue, if I needed a whole can, which I would not need a whole can, but if I needed a whole can and I wanted to have that twice in 2 weeks, then I would need 6 cans to cover. So I hope that's not scrambling your head up, because it certainly could. If you want to just make it simple, make a different meal for every day for 28 days. And then if you wanted to cover 3 months, triple everything. I'm making this way too hard by saying we would want spaghetti twice, but it's hard for me to think of 28 different meals to have 3 different times over a 3-month span. Now that you're completely foggy with what I just wrote, The concept is that you want to have foods that you're more familiar with, that you know you'll eat, that you don't have to stand there looking at your food storage saying, well, I got a year's supply of food, but what are we going to eat for dinner tonight? Which happens to me a lot. I think, oh no, what can I make tonight? What will everybody eat? Instead of them going, no, I don't want that. You know, that's the whole idea behind the appetite fatigue video, which I keep pushing down everyone's throat. Please, if you have not watched the appetite fatigue video, watch that one. It will wake you up in ways you don't want to be woken up. Or go to Southern Prepper's channel and watch his food experiment that he did, because it totally confirmed everything that I've been told over the years. Basically speaking, if you have to eat beans and rice repeatedly, after a while, you won't. You won't eat it anymore. I guess I can take my glasses off now. You will not eat the beans and rice anymore, which is why I get silly on these videos, and I'm over 10 minutes and I'm upset over that. I get silly in these videos and I say, make a list and check it twice so you can eat more than just beans and just rice. That's exactly why, because you don't want to get down to the point where beans and rice is all you have left. It ain't going to be pretty, folks. So now that I've made it sound like I know everything under the sun, and I think I just made the longest video on here, 11 minutes and 7 seconds, I think I'm going to quit. If you have specific questions, let me know. I don't know everything, but what I know, I'm willing to try to share. My screen just went blank. I always say when the screensaver goes, you know you've been talking too long. And now I have to wait for it to come back on so I can hit the little red button to stop this video. There we go. Back in business. 11 minutes and 32 seconds. Have a great night. Bye.